Hello everyone, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 7 of Showa Station, a Star Trek Adventures actual play using the rules by Modiphius Entertainment. My name is ELH, the Game Master, and joining me are some lovely individuals, including a guest who you'll hear from in a few moments. In terms of announcements, the only real announcement that I have is that, again, knock on wood, for the next at least 3 to 4 weeks, we should be on a regular weekly schedule. So we're just going to pray to the tech gods and the health gods and all the other gods that are out there, maybe even Cthulhu a few times, that we keep the regular schedule. But we'll see what happens. Life is going to be life. Other announcement is that if you aren't already tuned in to the Drake game, sometime near the end of December, beginning of January, we will be doing a Romulan game with the Drake people. So do look forward to that in the future. But other than that, I'm excited to get started and start our two-parter here. So let's get everyone to introduce themselves, and we'll do just that. So Lone Squiff, why don't you go first?
Hello, everyone. I'm Lone Squiff on Discord. I will be playing the Commodore of Showa Station, the Vulcan Taraz.
Cad, you're up next.
Hi, Cad Baines Hat, also known as Alex. I play the first officer, Commander Callahan.
Rocket.
Hello, everybody. I am Rocket Fox, and you can find me if you want where all the Rocket Foxes are. But for tonight, I am playing your friendly security neighborhood cat person, Shishista.
And ours.
Hi, Aris Animus on the Discord. I play the Lieutenant Commander Vakoya, Coordinate Chief Engineer Officer on Showa Station, currently trucking away on a ship.
And our guest, who is going to be a disembodied voice for the considerable future, would you care to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, this is Peter, or Petrus Aquinas. You may know me from the Drake game as Captain Thalen. You can also find me around as Petrus Aquinas on the interwebs or the Drunken Dice podcast at Roll and Review. And I will be playing Prince Sutane.
Very nice. All right, well, with that little bit of ominous information, let's get the intro going and we'll get started. All right, and welcome back. So, something I like doing with all my games is having somebody do a supplemental log. Did anybody actually write one? Because I don't think I gave it to anyone in particular.
Didn't have one ready, no.
Excellent. Then I will cover the recap. I love it. All right, so
give me the end character. Last week on Showa Station.
We are so good at planning around here at Showa Station.
So good at planning. Absolutely amazing. So, long story short, the Kozo King himself showed up at Showa Station, and within, I think, not even 5 minutes, there were assassination attempts after assassination attempts after assassination attempts. And it came out during the investigation and in talking to the king that, well, apparently some people feel he's a despot, and that that a resistance movement is trying to overthrow him and his kin so that they can institute democracy and begin a wide sweep of changes in the Kozo government on Kozo Prime. And more or less, it came out that there was an offer for Starfleet to come in and act as mediators for this dispute. Now, of course, the Prime Directive isn't a thing yet, but the players are still very much not going to pull a Kirk and interfere too heavily, or at least that's the intention I got in sort of a vibe. But part of them going to Kozo Prime is that we sort of split up the party into two groups. Some players are going to be going on the King's vessel, and others are going to be going on the USS Elena, a J-class freighter that they have borrowed, quote-unquote, for this mission. So let's actually hash that out real quick. Who's on what ship? And yes, who is on first? So Lone Squiff, where is Commodore Taraz? Is she on the Elena or is she with the King?
I believe she was with the King, being helping to be a Starfleet representative on that ship.
Okay. And then Callahan, where are you?
Whatever we decide, I'll probably be on the opposite shit as the Commodore. Because
Okay,
that's
so
probably
you're on
make
the
the most
Elena.
sense.
Okay. Shishista, where are you?
I believe Shishista is on the ship with the King and the Commodore and all of the high value assets.
Okay. Does that include Princess Ayako? Is she with you with the King or is she on the Elena?
I believe that she was on the ship with the King, and we gave her a Starfleet uniform.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that she would be a representative of our
Yes.
beautiful cultures aligning.
Yes, we
Field
gave her a
commission.
field. Yeah, we gave her a field commission, correct?
Right. That was the other thing I had to
we had
ask.
the uniform
So is
ready.
So is she officially an ensign? We never really hashed that one out.
Well, that's up to the Commodore.
Cadet, I believe.
Mhm.
Just a cadet?
Okay.
Like, are we talking like Wesley level cadet or?
Like,
She's not there yet.
Somewhere between that and graduating. You know?
Okay. All right. So I don't think we actually know what the uniforms truly look like for this time, but I'm still imagining it's some form of gray or black, something
Yeah.
in that line. Okay, cool. And then Vokaya, where are you?
So we shut all of the bots down, right? And the ones we didn't shut down were locked up.
Correct.
So there's not really much benefit for her working on the other ship. She's more comfortable working with her own consoles. So I would be on the US. Sorry, what was it? The US
Elena.
Elena. Yeah, definitely.
And yeah. All right, so I've got Callahan and Vokaya there, Shishista and Tora. I'm just moving a few tokens on my little GM screen here. All right, so we see the two vessels, the Grand Victorian Lantern, that is the King's vessel, moving into the nebula. We also see the J-class freighter moving in. And after about not even 30 seconds, your view screen on both vessels is just filled with the gases of the nebula. Now, as you kind of saw in our intro video, the nebula is kind of a white and black kind of hue, where a lot of it is just bright particulate that reflects almost everything. And it's not fun for sensors. It's not fun for flying through unless you're kind of like a hotshot pilot, in which case you're having the time of your life. But where this is all going is that maybe about a third of the way to Kozo Prime, Callahan, since you're on the Elena, your sensors, and Vokaya too, your sensors are going to pick up that another Kozo vessel is rapidly approaching. I would say that if either of you would care to do a deeper scan, we can actually start getting you guys some momentum, because I already have a lovely complication from chat, which you're going to love in a few moments.
Yes, I would definitely like to do a deeper scan, especially since you said they're coming at us with speed.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Out from the nebula?
Yes, coming from the direction of Kozo Prime.
Right.
All right. So, you guys can decide who's assisting whom, but the roll is going to be a reason science at a difficulty of 3 due to the effects of the nebula. And not only do you get to assist each other, but the Elena is also able to assist you, and it is doing a sensors and science here.
I will assist because I'm guessing yours is better than mine.
Not by much. Not by much. What did you say the difficulty was?
A difficulty of 3, and you do have 2 momentum banked from last time.
Okay. Difficulty 3, science and sorry, what was that? It just cut out a
Reason
little
and
bit.
science.
Reason and science, thank you. Mm,
Does the Elena get any focuses?
Elena always has a focus because it's a ship.
Sensors and science, right?
Correct.
Would xenoengineering be a focus for this scam?
Give it to you because you know you're looking for a very specific type of vessel. I'll give it to you.
No doubt.
Well, no help from the Elena, but at least it's not a complication. One help from Callahan, that's good.
Hey,
I am going to spend a dice to roll 3. Or
Okay.
spend a momentum, sorry, to roll 3.
You're good. And
oh my
boy.
god.
Wow, yeah. That's
Oh no.
it's a great start.
What
Okay,
could
that's-
possibly go wrong?
That's 2 complications.
Things can only go up from here.
She's Bill Minute on the ship, that's for sure.
Hey, do you want to spend determination to reroll that, or are we keeping those 2 complications?
That's a good question. Spending determination so soon.
It is 2 complications. If you're like this, if it was 1, I say let's go for it. But 2, plus we have a banked thing coming up on us.
All right. So
Right out of the
she tries to run the scan on this ship coming in hot, right?
Mhm.
And obviously does a miscalculation of some sort, and the readouts don't make sense. I'd like to trigger my value. Patience is for the dead, because if I take any longer, it could cost us our lives. If that makes sense.
I'll give it to you. So go ahead and mark off your determination has been spent.
Okay. Do the reroll.
If you roll another complication, we're just gonna have to live with it. Like,
Yeah, I'll just
the dice
bow
want to
out.
tell a
I'll
story
just
clearly.
bow out for the rest of it.
Okay, well, so
Well, a
it's
story.
it's still only 2 successes, but I'll let you succeed at cost, so it'll still be a complication, but you'll succeed at least.
Sure, that's fair.
Okay,
Alright.
fair enough.
So Vokaya, thanks to your engineering know-how and your general knowledge of starships, yeah, you know whose vessel that is. It's a certain prince's. And he is attempting to, shall we say, perform a aggressive docking maneuver.
Okay. I will definitely. I will try to hail him.
Prince Zutane, our guest for the evening. You get a hail. It's from your target vessel where you believe the princess of your dreams is waiting.
You will prepare to be docked with immediately.
Prince, this is Commander Callahan. Thank you. This is Commander Callahan of the USS Elena. We are under direct protection and supervision of the king of your people. Cease and desist and change course immediately, or you will be subject to any consequences from your actions.
You would not dare to fire upon a member of the royal family.
The Federation has any and all rights to defend itself on any vehicles with a collision course on them. I say again, change course.
The complication is going to be that, Mr. Prince, you heard none of that. You were blinded by love. Your princess is on that ship, and you will have her. You will have her, goddammit. And I'm going to have you... I'm going to do something very rare. I'm going to give you access to the GM threat pool. How many dice do you want to roll for an aggressive docking maneuver?
3.
3? All right.
So that's what the kids are calling it these days.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Is there any way we can try to do like an evasive maneuver when we
Yeah,
see that he is
basically it's
not
going to be an
stopping?
oppose, but we're going to do their roll first so that we know what your difficulty is. All right, so expanding that out so that we actually see what he rolled. He rolled a 6, a 16, and an 11. So that is 2 successes. So either Callahan or Vokaya, probably Vokaya because I think you have the higher con. You are going to be needing to do a daring and a con. And you can either have an assist from the ship or the other person, depending on which one of you is rolling. And the Elena would help you with a engines and a security in this case.
I'd be able to help by trying to inspire, like kind of give, since I am a pilot on there, trying to like do this so I can try to use it more on like my presence or something like that, using my status as the current con officer.
I'll give you presence con. Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Oh,
How is
right.
this for that?
Difficulty. Difficulty of 3. Oh, sorry. Difficulty of 2.
Sorry, so are you taking that role?
No, I will assist with that because
Oh, gotcha.
Well, the Elena has rolled a complication. I know where we're going tonight. We're going to Complication Land.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What are you all doing on that ship when we're not there?
Being attacked by random princes.
All right. Well, all right. Well, you got your 2 successes, but the complications. So I'd like to imagine you've got this Gothic lantern ship coming flying in, screaming bat out of hell, and then we've got this J-class like cylinder vessel with like a little rocket ship tied to the back. We see the Gothic lantern come screaming in, and at the last moment, the Elena tilts on its side and kind of literally scrapes against the bottom, or I guess the lantern scrapes the bottom of the Elena, and even you on the King's vessel can hear the scraping sound as it just ekes across the entire length of the vessel. But for the moment, you have evaded the prince's assault, and I'm going to let Peter do Peter things for a little bit. So you just tell me what you want to roll, what you want to do, Peter, and I will facilitate that.
All right. Well, first I'm going to like scream into the open channel. No, you shall not deny me. I shall meet my bride. And then I shall try to come around for another pass.
Before we do that, let's check on the Commodore and Shishista and Aeko. So, naturally, at this point, you are aware of what's going on. You're on the bridge of the King's vessel. He's just kind of seated there with his arms over his chest, and he's like, I'm inclined to let them fight, but I feel like that would violate the spirit of our agreement to go in peace.
Your Highness, if I may, why do you feel inclined to let them fight?
Well, as my daughter will probably tell you, not only is Prince Zutane absolutely bonkers for her, but he's one of those princes that if you try to stop him early, he doesn't exactly have good coping mechanisms.
Shishista will turn to the Commodore. This sounds like a personal problem.
Yes. Perhaps we could do something to deter it. I would like to not have to fill out paperwork for a destroyed Starfleet vessel in the nebula.
Oh, you should get someone for that. I like delegating. In fact, you over there. And he snaps his fingers, and a retainer comes over and is like, "Yes, your sire. What can I do for you? Yes, see that you fill out the paperwork for this fine Commodore. Right away, sir. Mr. Commodore.
That's something we do ourselves. I'm
Your Highness, the longer this takes.
Oh, look at that. He's coming away for another pass. And Peter, how many dice you want to roll this time?
How many do I have?
You have GM threat pool.
All of them.
All of them? All right.
I shall roll. Oh yeah, you did that to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. So that's a 57. So that is still actually no. That's 3 successes because that's a 1. That's a crit. So again, same roll for Vokaya, Elena, and Callahan. This time the difficulty is 3. By my count, I think you're down at 1 momentum.
I will also say to the op officer, if we survive this pass, target his engines.
Is this going to be engine security again?
Yep. Also, I will point out that Callahan, the way this ship works is the small cramped bridge that you're in with Vokaya. It's literally you and Vokaya, and that's it. It's just you two.
All right. Jeez. I guess I will be targeting the engines then.
Please, some like shoulder like hitting button.
All right. Well, hey, we got it. We got an assist from Callahan. That's a good start.
And is this another daring con for me?
Another daring con. Mm-hmm.
Daring con. Difficulty 2?
Difficulty of 3 overall.
Difficulty of 3. Okay. And we have how much momentum now?
Just the one. Actually, I read that backwards. It's the Elena that assists with the 1 and Callahan with nothing, unfortunately. So I'll need to see 2 from Vokaya.
Okay. I'm going to give you a threat
Okay.
to roll 3 dice.
Okay.
Because I have bold engineering.
Okay.
Or sorry, that wouldn't work here. Sorry,
No,
no,
it
I'm doing
would.
a con roll. I'm doing a
because
con
it's
roll.
con roll.
Yeah.
Yep.
My bad. I'm used to rolling engineering so much. I'm piloting now, not fixing.
Yeah, I got to get you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly, right. Okay, I'm still gonna give you a threat either way, whether I can reroll
I
it or
will
not.
gladly. Well, Peter will gladly take it.
Yeah. The ominous
Would you
voice
like to
will
live
gladly.
dangerously?
I am quite daring.
Okay, so that is only only 1 success. I can let you succeed, but there's going to be a very interesting complication.
I'll take it.
Okay. So, you dodge roll out of the way a second time, but this time when the scraping, ear crackling screech that results, you actually rupture the cargo hold in the back, and just crates and barrels and other bits of flotsam just begin drifting out into the nebula.
Oh no, my Raktajino!
While that's happening, we go back to the Commodore and Shishista, and the king's like, "Oh, look at that! Isn't that a lovely joust?"
Can I attempt to? Because I wanted to try to see if I could shoot his engines as if we dodge. Can I still attempt to do that?
You can in a moment, yes.
Shishista would say to the Commodore, does this prince not realize that if he destroys the vessel that he believes the princess is on, he would be destroying her? Yes?
Yeah. Your Highness, perhaps you should intervene to talk him down.
But we're getting to the good part.
Your Highness.
So they've been on the ship for a while.
About 2 hours.
And I'm assuming we've studied Ayeko's ship.
Yes.
So would it be safe to say we have some kind of understanding of their controls?
More or less.
Okay. Go ahead, Rocket.
Your Highness, with all due respect, the longer this takes, the longer it will be before we can get the situation to a suitable end with your people.
Roll me a presence, and for you, we'll call it presence security. I am going to make the difficulty of 4. And you do have the 1 momentum, and I don't think you used determination last time, so you do have that available to you as well.
I'm sure I do.
Can Taraz assist?
If you tell me how.
Using her command, trying to talk the king into acting. Or maybe moving over towards a control panel herself.
Well, that's why I'm asking, because those are 2 very different things. One would be a presence and command. The other would probably be like a daring and a con.
So before you make any choices on that, I will use a determination, and I will likely use my disarming nature. So
that is indeed one of your valuable talents.
It is.
Let me actually put it in chat so that everybody can read it. So basically,
she has a very soothing voice.
Oh wait, I hit Prehensile Tail. My bad. I wanted that one.
You know what? I could use that too. I could just reach over and.
Okay. So disarming nature reduces the difficulty down from a 4 to a 3 because you're trying to get a target to relax or trust you, and you're still going to use your determination.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I only need to see.
We're going to take that down to a 3.
Yeah. I only need to see 1 success then on your other die.
And then Taraz will assist with the command presence.
Okay.
Remind me, when using a determination, could I also use a focus, or is that just overkill?
I mean, it's one of those things where the use of determination doesn't stop you from using a focus.
Because I do have negotiation, and this seems like a very negotiable situation.
Would definitely apply in this instance.
All right, here we go.
And it looks like you guys are going to be getting a lot of momentum off this roll, which is probably intended.
Here we go. Here we go.
Okay, that is... All right, that's 4 successes from Shashista, 2 from Taraz. That includes the determination spend for a grand total of 6, meaning you are now up to 4 momentum overall. So the king does kind of...
I do want to say real quick.
Yes.
Essentially, Shashista would be like, Your Highness. And
Let's
very,
set an
very
example.
convincing guy. Continue. Carry on.
So what's going to happen is the king is going to look at Shashista and is going to look at Taraz. And then his smile was already kind of big, but it gets even wider. And maybe just a little bit of mania behind those eyes as he starts to clap and says, well done, well done. I had to make sure that you were ready to enter into mediation procedures with my people. We're a very, very unruly bunch. You there, boy at the helm. I'm a woman, sir. I don't care what you are. Just send out a hail and tell the prince to stop being an ass. Meanwhile, Prince, would you like to continue being an ass before Callahan shoots you?
Of course. Okay, so as I fly by, have at you! I shall rescue my bride from you. I am going to fire weapons at their engines.
Okay, so we got 2 weapons fire going at once, but we're going to do the Elena's first. So Callahan, you opening fire is a control security, difficulty of 2. The ship will assist you with a weapons security. And I just got a complication from chat. I'm going to save that because, well, we'll just see how long we can make this scene go out because I'm just having a blast.
I'm going to use one of the momentum to roll 3.
Okay. Well, no from the Elena. Okay, and then there's your 2 you need, Callahan. So the Elena has a grand total 5 challenge dice with its phase cannons. So if you would care to roll 5 challenge dice, please. All right. Well, the good news is that you are able to hit with 4, but they're phase cannons. They don't do a whole lot. So, you shoot at the princess's ship. You do score some damage on the princess's ship, but his shields are still up, which means that
Dastardly rogues, you dared to fire upon me.
You threatened to fire on us. I think you are mentally insane.
You continue to block my advances to retrieve my bride.
If you had half a brain cell, you would have scanned and seen that she's not here. Stop trying to attack us. You 1 IQ point. Sad excuse for a royal.
You hear the comm click off.
And I just want to point out for those who aren't in on the joke, basically Peter is actually at Cad's house right now, and they're just glaring at each other through the screen. It's great. So it's at this point that the king does do a wide broadcast open channel and says, all right, Prince Uchain, that's enough. That's enough. We've seen your valor, and I'm sure the princess is very impressed. He looks over at Princess Eiko. Are you impressed? No, father. I am, in fact, the opposite of impressed. In fact, it is just the Sahara Desert down there. Just nothing. The king doesn't know what to do with that. He looks to Taraz like he doesn't know what the Sahara Desert is, but he's like, is
Taraz just, yes, like the sands of Vulcan.
Again, I don't know the... Commander Shashista, is this a good thing, a bad thing?
Let me put it to you like this, Your Majesty. Envision, if you will, the royal wedding evening. Now envision that the room is set on fire and someone has thrown several grenades into the room as well. And not the good kind, the bad kind. Everyone is dead.
Oh, you're just describing my honeymoon.
Well, so be it.
Anyway, Prince Zutane, I know you're receiving. Will you stand down before I have to fire upon you?
If my bride-to-be believes that I have shown enough valor, then I shall cease hostilities.
Remember that complication I had from chat? Princess Ayako is just going to calmly walk over to one of the tactical panels and is going to press the big red button. Now, Prince Zutane, you do have an option of trying to dodge this attack, but I will say you no longer have access to the GM threat pool, which means if you want extra dice, you give the players momentum.
Oh. I will try to dodge this attack.
Okay, how many dice you want to roll?
3.
3? All right, so by my count, I think you're now at 5 momentum. All right,
It was
well.
so nice knowing the prince.
Yeah, well. Oh,
really
wow,
wasn't.
holy crap. That is not only a crit, that's a double. Oh my god.
Never underestimate my power.
Okay, so Prince Zutane, not only did you just dodge a big beam of FU coming from your king's vessel, but you probably just embarrassed the hell out of whoever just fired that shot. Princess.
Ooh.
So, Callahan and Vokaya, as that's going on, what are you guys doing?
I'm very confused on what just happened. I feel like there was some talking with that ship and the king that we were not privy to, and at least I think they sided with us.
Yeah, I'm not sure if who came out on top in that scenario, but there's plenty of work to be done here.
Can't wait to have to describe what happened to this guy's ship. At least he'll enjoy the story.
If believed, yes, if believed.
If not, we're not going to pay for it.
And isn't that the most magical thing of all, not having to pay for it? All right, well, technically, Prince Zutane, I guess we're still in combat, technically. You've dodged a phaser blast. What would you like to do now, Mr. Disembodied Voice?
Well, I suppose since I am showing my valor, I shall continue my joust with the other ship, since I know that my bride cannot be hurt.
Okay. Going for the kill. I just see Taraz glaring like, how dare you? Do you know how much paperwork this is? Do you know how much? All right, how many dice you want to roll?
As Aiko is firing, Taraz just giving a little pat on the back and just a little nod. She approves.
Can I use my quick to action to retain the momentum for one thing before he tries to do anything?
You certainly may. What would you like to do?
I'm going to tell Vokaya, do a quick U-turn and put some of that space junk between us and him. Let's see how valorous he actually is.
Yes, sir. Delta maneuver on it.
All right, Vokaya, daring and a con, difficulty of 2. The ship will assist you with a engines con. Now, no help from the ship. Man, the ship is either
use
just
momentum.
on a roll or...
We have 5. Use some momentum.
Goodness. Yeah, definitely. I've got helm operations as a focus.
Definitely would apply.
For sure. I'll spend a I keep spending 1 and getting
Do 3. Go for it. We have 5.
three dice, right?
Yep.
Go for it.
Okay. So yeah, I'll spend 1 to get 1.
And wow, yeah, you actually go cap on momentum from that. Very well done.
Nice.
So, you want to put yourselves with the debris field between you, correct?
Yeah, so he'll have to try to maneuver through us at high with all the junk that he littered everywhere.
Got it. So, I now turn to the prince. Prince, I think the complication for you is you don't notice the debris field. What would you like to do?
Well, if I don't notice it, I am going straight through that.
Okay. How many dice you want to roll?
4.
4.
If I
All right.
can.
Which means, players, you have 2 floating momentum that you could spend to create a instant advantage and open to the table. Any advantage that you guys would like to impose?
Can we give the princess another shot?
You certainly can, yes.
Either that or like have him go through like a jet wash or something, like disrupt his engines.
Yeah, I was thinking some of the
of a
junk
rogue
is like-
wig is.
Some of the junk's like magnetized to the hole now. And he's listing now.
Okay.
His ship just looks real tacky.
Also, my cat is here. That's why my tracking is being weird. I guess
Hello.
while I'm dealing with cat, I think you know what's coming, Prince. You're going to be brought to a stop. But how would you like to describe your reaction to basically your ship becoming defunct?
What? No, you cannot stop my glorious purpose. It's not fair. It's just not fair.
And then we see Princess Saeko look very, very pleased at the Commodore and Shishista and says, "Permission to open a channel, sir?"
Yes, and please make
Permission
sure.
granted.
Please make sure to tell him that you defeated him.
Pushes the button. Prince Utain, are you there? Are you hearing me?
Princess, my beloved, I can hear your dulcet tones.
Well, I'm here to tell you that this will be the last that you hear from me. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. And she cuts the comm, pushes the big red button, and Prince Utain, just a question for you. Do you have an escape pod on that vessel?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. So on screen, that everybody knows in character, but out of character will know that he escapes. But in character, we just see the prince's vessel just explode. It's gone. It is just gone. But out of character, and kind of like a vignette, we see like a small escape pod spinning away. And you want to give us your last little monologue before we continue on?
Oh, this is so disappointing, but I shall prove my valor. I shall return. You've not heard the end of me.
Very well done. All right, thank you, Peter. That's all we'll need from you tonight. But I do want to thank you for coming on and being the prince for a little bit. So everybody, give him a round of applause, real quick. But yeah. The good news is that after your initial excitement, you are both able to continue on to Kozo Prime. Now, when it comes to the damages done to the Elena, Vokaya, you're obviously the chief engineer. You know what to look for. You're looking at about a week's work in space dock to fix the holes in the hull.
You're
Sorry.
muted as tradition.
That's exactly what I was. That's exactly what I was looking for. So you said about a week's worth of work to fix the holes. Where? Sorry.
The trenches that were dug into the cargo holds.
Sorry, I'm not following the trenches for.
Basically, when the ships collided, that they opened the tear.
Oh,
in the
I
cargo
see
hold.
what you mean.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, when did we dig trenches for?
It's actually a
That
hydroponic
makes-
ship.
Yeah, no
there's
doubt.
just a bunch of
eh?
flowers
It's
back
a
there.
feature. It's a feature now. That's for sure. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm reporting this to them, or like we need to stop and fix this, or I'm
Your
not
call
quite
as
following.
chief engineer.
I gotcha. We're still heading to Kozo Prime, right? En route?
Correct.
Yeah. How long again did you say it'll take to fix?
About a week. But if you
About a
just want to
week.
make her quote unquote space worthy, or at least
Right.
you don't have to be venting atmosphere, you'd need to
Yeah.
stop and work for about 2-3 hours.
But I'm guessing they would be weak. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So she like reports to Callahan like, Sir, quite a lot of damage was done from these fissures. If we want to fix it properly, we're going to have to find possibly an asteroid or giant piece of space junk to sit down on and actually get out and fix it. Otherwise, we can do the best that we can, but we're going to have some weak spots if we run into some battles.
How far away are we from Kozo Prime?
I would say you are about 4 hours out at current speeds.
I will open a channel to the other ship.
Okay, channel is open. Commodore and Shishista, you both hear this.
Like, Commodore, this is Callahan. The battle, the damage we've sustained, we will be very vulnerable if we are to come any other disagreements until we reach Kozo Prime. To properly fix the ship, it would take about a week in dock. But once we land, if you give us probably half a day's work, we can get it space-worthy again.
Charles will look over at the king. Do you have any facilities on Kozo that would help facilitate the repair of my ship?
Oh, I think I should be a gracious host and invite you to the royal berth, where my finest servants will handle the damage for you.
Princess, do you have any other suitors that we don't know about?
She starts to say no, but then looks at the king. Are there, father? How many people have you promised my hand to? Well, let's see. And he holds up his hand. There was that one prince from the northern province, and then there was the southern one, and then the southeastern one. And he just starts rambling as he's counting over and over in his hand. And the princess just sort of sighs and looks at Shishista. I'm not allowed to shoot my own father, am I?
Commodore, at this point, given the distance that we have to travel, there's no telling if we're going to be... Shishista would shoot a glance at the princess and then at the king. How many more encounters we may encounter.
Yes. All right, so Taraz is going to be deeply thinking for a moment. And while she's doing that, out of character, I don't want to send everybody back. So,
I
we all
will
going to continue on?
Yeah, Callahan would come in with the transmission. I recommend that we close ranks for the remainder of the journey. And if we do see anyone, I will be using your ship as cover, for lack of a better word.
Yes, it appears instead of us being the escorts, the king is now our escort. Charming.
You do have the warship. I have this little dinghy.
Very well, Callahan. Keep it tight. Keep the channel open.
So, roger that. I'll pass all this on to Vokaya.
Question.
Answer.
So we have some momentum, correct?
You have full momentum at the moment.
I don't know if it's far-fetched or not, but could we, on asking my crew as well, could we possibly create an advantage to help suture these fissures a little bit stronger than possible? Don't we have some kind of didn't we find some other kind of metal, some super strong metal from another, if I'm remembering correctly?
Ship, yes.
Right? Could we use some of that metal to help our Starfleet melds, as it were?
If you want to spend that resource, I will certainly allow you to do so.
And it might make it a little stronger, kind of in the midpoint of not having time to set down, but possibly not as weak as it was going to be.
I think that makes sense. Well, and Vokaya has also worked enough, I think, on the princess's ship and the bots to have a vague understanding of their technology that is very confusing to the rest of us.
Me too, honestly. I'm trying to keep up.
Trust me, I'm deliberately making it confusing because I'm trying to get that whole alien vibe, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But
it's there.
Cool.
Um,
But yeah,
yeah, she runs her plan by commanding officer, obviously, commanding officers.
Hey, we've seen you work miracles before. Let's see another one.
Yes, sir. So she gets to work on that plan.
I wait for any dissent coming from the open channel, but I'm not going to explicitly ask for permission.
It's one of those, like, it was on a data pad, and it's like, Volkaya wants to, and Taraz just, yes.
I can just like I can hear the eyebrow raised through the comms, so you don't need to say anything.
Yeah, she's just like,
Yeah, totally.
all right, well, since you've spent the extra resource, I'm not going to require a roll here. You were able to patch up the USS Elena. Now, of course, it's going to need a fresh coat of paint and probably a little bit of vacuum detail, quote unquote, but it'll do for government work, or for Starfleet work, I should say. But the good news...
I'm sure that captain will not be happy, whoever you borrowed this from.
If you tell the story, he might be thrilled. You never know. But long story short, you guys are able to get the ship moving again, and you are able to finally get to Kozo Prime. Now, when you do finally come into view of Kozo Prime, again, the nebula itself is just white particulate everywhere. Then you enter into a void, kind of a pocket within the nebula. And in the middle of the space is a small protostar, so a very baby star still forming, the gases of the nebula swirling into it at the poles. Then we see the Kozo Prime itself. Now, it is a blue world, not unlike our Earth, where it is about 70 to 80% water. But the difference is that this is frozen water. This is ice. So it's actually a little bit more like Europa, just a little more blue than the brown. In any event, as you finally see Kozo Prime, the king over open comms, so again, that Volkaya and Callahan can hear, he sweeps his arm and motions at the planet and says, and of course there she is, the gem of my life, Kozo Prime. Now I have already taken the liberty of calling ahead and making sure that none of the good princess's suitors are going to harass us on the way down, but tell me, princess, how much of them have you told, or how much about our planet have you told them? And the princess kind of looks at Shishista and says, well, admittedly not much. It's been sort of a sore spot. I've been a little quiet on that regard. Well,
we haven't wanted to push.
I do thank you for that, by the way. Do thank you for that. Well, in that case, allow me to introduce you to one of the most unique living situations possible. And the king doesn't explain further, but as his ship begins to enter into the atmosphere, I just want to double check. Callahan, Volkaya, you guys are following in the Elena?
Yes.
Okay. So you break atmosphere, and as you finish the re-entry process and you're flying over the icy sheets, the icy tundra, what you notice is that there is a procession of what I can only describe as being living cities, in that these are, how to say this, this is basically the equivalent of taking New York, Staten Island, Manhattan, whatever the actual island is. I know someone from New York's going to hate me now, but whatever the island itself is, imagine putting that on like a giant treaded vehicle and just having it slowly moving, and put about 6 or 7 of them in line. And that's what you're seeing, is these giant moving cities just slowly creeping towards the horizon. And the king, as this comes into view, he explains, Kozo Prime rotation is such that so long as we are on the light side, we can persist in a Class M environment. However, if we ever were to fall behind into the darkness, well, let's just say a lot of people would die very quickly. But this is Kozo Prime. This is how we've always lived, and if you look carefully, you probably can see the little bit, the smaller folk as they traverse aside our grand vessels. And yeah, now that you've had this pointed out to you, if you were to look on sensors or look very carefully, you would see smaller, much smaller, treaded vehicles dragging along little societies with them. But they all are moving settlements, is what I'm trying to impress upon you. But the king does again sweep his arms as you fly towards one of the biggest spires and says, And it is now my pleasure to introduce you to the royal city of Verunda. And that's where we're going to take our 5 to 10 minute break. So we'll be back very shortly. Stick around, everybody. All right, welcome back to part 2 of session 7 of Star Trek's Showa Station. If you're just joining us, well, you missed a little bit of a comedy scenario where Prince Zutane tried to once again show his valor and capture his princess, but unfortunately his princess was on the wrong ship. So that's the thing now. But where we last left off is the players had finally arrived at Kozo Prime to be the mediators between the resistance movement, who are trying to better Kozo Prime, and the king, who hopefully at this point has been somewhat exposed as being not exactly the best king out there, but, you know, players think differently. In either event...
Oh, you mean referring to everyone as the little people?
One question here.
Yes.
As we're flying in.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask Aiko, where does her suitor stand on the side of things?
Well, what? Oh, you mean Prince Zutane, who's no longer a thing? You know, I never asked.
Just curious.
At this point, to sort of, again, describe what we did before break. So, again, you've got these moving cities that are on giant treaded vehicles, staying on the daylight side of Kozo Prime. The King's Vessel, again, that Victorian lantern, begins to settle into like this cradle designed perfectly to match and almost flush against the exterior of the vessel, so that when it's attached, the entire spire looks like a street lantern kind of a thing. It's actually kind of picturesque, or at least what I've got in my mind looks picturesque. But what you notice is that as the King's Vessel settles in, another sort of like clawed tower reaches out and very carefully, using tractor beams, brings in the USS Elena. And then the tower begins to descend towards the, I guess you would call it the ground of the city, so that you can begin repairs or any sorts of retrofitting or anything you want done to the Elena while you're here. But once everybody has been situated, everybody has landed, the king stands and then sweeps his cape in a royal fashion and then turns to you, Commodore, and says, "Well, again, welcome to Kozo Prime. Where would you like to begin? Shall I call in for some rebels to be brought in and we'll have a discussion? Should we put out a welcome mat? You are the mediators here. I've never dealt with this sort of thing before. I defer to your expertise."
Legally, we are not mediators.
Well, there are a few questions I would like to have answered. Let's perhaps if you could show us your lovely city.
Oh, of course. I'd be happy to show you the Royal Palace. Note, he said Royal Palace, not city.
Yeah.
At this, he kind of snaps his fingers and says, you, whatever you're doing, okay. And like this little scrawny, barely out of his teens, Kozo comes over and goes, yes, what can I do for you? See that we fetched our guest some form of coat of some sort. Coat, sir? Well, yes, they're not from here. They're going to be cold. The poor, helpless individual just looks between Shashista and Taraz like, they're quite small. Are you sure our coats would fit? Do I need to repeat myself, son? No, that's okay. And he scurries off and comes back with like, I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but he comes back with like an XXXXL coat because that's all that would fit like a normal Kozo. And he just kind of hands Shashista and Taraz each one of these coats.
Big and tall.
Yeah.
I imagine Shishista will put it on and then it's just like enveloped in this coat. Like there's a big hood with a fur thing around the face.
Oh,
that's completely just around here, and the rest of it looks like reminiscent of a cocoon, if you will.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting lion vibes for some reason when you mentioned Shishiso. Like, now you've got that mane thing going on with the fur of the coat. Yeah, I love it.
Except it's out to like, a foot away from the face on every side.
It's a regal mane. But yeah, at that, once the king sees that you're appropriately dressed in his eyes, whatever that means for the king, he leads you out of his vessel into the royal city. And of course, Callahan and Vokaya, when you join, you are also given your own giant coats, because why not? But as the four of you look out onto the royal city, what you see is opulence. You see that this is not unlike what's back on Earth, where we see technology blended almost flawlessly and, what's the word I want? Gracefully with the environment around it. And it looks like at least this portion of the city is meant to be kind of a garden or some form of like a central park, where there are just blocks upon blocks upon blocks of trees, of gardens, of flowers and vegetation of all sorts. And the people walking about all sort of have that air about them, that the way to their movement, where the Kozo move with purpose. And if any of them do see you walking with the king, they immediately bow their heads and do a little curtsy or perhaps some sort of wave of gesture with the hand. But as you keep walking, Shishista, I'm going to give this to you for free because, again, you're the security officer here. You notice that you're being led on a tour, not the actual this is what the city looks like, if that makes any sense, where if you were going to show somebody a city, you wouldn't show them the quote-unquote bad parts of the city, if you see where I'm going with that.
The parts where people would want to have a democracy.
Yes. You are basically being showed a very condensed version of what the place is like. And I think the best example of that, and this will apply to all of you that you'll notice this, is that one of those Kozo moving with purpose has a small child with them. And they're about, half a football field away, which is a strange measure of movement, but that's what came to mind. Anyway, there in the distance, the kid kind of begins jumping up and down. He's like, "Ooh, look, it's the king. It's the king. Hi, king." And the parents are very hastily trying to push the kids down, keep him on the ground, make him bow his head. And the kid breaks away and begins running up towards the king and to you all. Now, I should kind of say that you haven't really had a royal guard with you because, well, you dealt with that back on Showa Station. But when the kid does get closer to this group, appearing as if out of nowhere, several of these same security robots, the retaining robots, almost spring from the ground and immediately slam the kid into the grass to stop him about 20 feet away from you all. And the kid is still squirming and, throwing a fit, I don't think is the right word, but you can see the kid is just excited to see you all. And whatever your reaction is, we'll get in a moment, but I do want to highlight that the king doesn't even look at the kid, doesn't even give the kid a time of day. But I am curious what you all think of that.
I think Shishista would, because walking near to the Commodore, got to keep safe, would in a pretty low tone say, "Commodore, I don't believe we're being shown perhaps where the those who disagree with this rule might be living."
Yes, I was hoping to see one of the lower cities, or perhaps break away if there's a distraction.
Oh, you mean the small people?
Callahan will go up to this excited kid and definitely get there and high five all of them. This is awesome. He loves things like this.
I imagine Callahan "You want my autograph?" Signing papers and handing them out.
And the kid's like, "You're not the king."
Well, the kid's still excited because he's never seen an alien before. So he kind of takes the high five and he's still being held by the security robots. And he's like,
"This is the best tackle of my life."
There you go. That's exactly what he says. But he kind of takes the high five too. And he's like, "I have no idea what that means in your culture, but I'm sure it's awesome. So I'm going to take it as awesome." oh,
It
I
is
guess
awesome.
I'm being
You're
led away
awesome.
now. Okay, have fun. Enjoy the king. And like the security robots are like full up like underarm picking up the kid and like taking him away, but not towards his parents. They are like taking him towards a building in the distance. Like they're not taking him back to his parents.
Well, he's gone now.
Perhaps he would have an even better day traveling with us.
Yes.
You want to intervene?
I was just
you
kind
have
of
a
saying
chance
that
to.
out loud to everybody, hear the king's reaction.
Oh, okay. So the king hearing this, he says, I'm sorry, who are we talking about? And he looks around as if, not even realizing where he is.
It would be beneficial for us all to hear from all ages. And she'll gesture
The
towards
youth
that
being
kid peeking back
escorted.
up.
Oh, that one. Kind of snaps his fingers. Let him go. And security robots immediately like dump the kid on the grass. But again, he's a kid. He doesn't care. He just springs back up, little dirt on his face, wipes it off, runs up to you all, and like a little lost puppy is going to cling to Callahan for a little bit.
Yes.
Callahan has a friend.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually
So
one of those
we're-
things where even though he's a kid, like, because Kozo are so big, he is like, I don't know, how tall is Callahan? I don't think we've ever settled on a height.
Like 6'1" ish.
6'1"?
Nothing
Okay.
too crazy.
So the kid is like 5'8" to you. So, you've
nice.
got a head on him, basically. But he's like, okay, so it's really cool that I'm this close to the king, and that lady is like an animal person. That is really, really cool. And then looking at Vokaya, I have no idea what to say about you, but you look cool. And you, lady, who's looking at me very weirdly, you have pointed ears. That's really cool.
She still would like face palm the kid really quick as soon as he addressed her. What do they call you? Hand off.
They call me Zim. Z-I-M.
Zim, we're going to have some of this from you right now. Do you see this? We're going to have this. This is your mouth. This is closed. This is what we are going to have right now.
I thought you were going to ask me to do the whole,
That's
okay. Okay.
I definitely want to hear what you had to say.
Well, she just said I shouldn't say anything.
Technically, I outrank her, so you can listen.
She's just going to shoot him a look.
Poor kid.
And then she's going to just kind of vaguely wave her hand at the kid, and then to Callahan, if he and like approaching him and like right in his face, if he calls me a walking animal or that thing with pointy ears again, this is on you personally.
It was Commodore was the one with the pointy ears.
Yeah.
It's not always about you, she. You need to calm that down a little bit.
On you.
Taraz is just going to be, you're a very observant one, Sim. I would like to hear more about the city from you.
And
What can you tell me?
the kid starts getting a little bit excited, but then he looks at the king, and the king is like looking at him in, not with anger, not with impatience, but that sort of look you give a kid that's misbehaving, but it isn't your kid, so you can't actually do anything about it. But he's giving you that look. He's giving the kid that look.
With like a hint of like Oliver Twist. Like that kind of look.
A little bit, yeah. But what I would tell you is that the king just sort of says, all right, I suppose we have a +1.
Where were those robots taking the child?
Oh, well, to the detention facility, of course. We can't have anybody assaulting myself or my royal guests.
Given the age of this, she still looks down but realizes that he's very big for a child. Given the age of this child, doesn't that seem a little extreme?
I'm only 8. Well, he's old enough to work in the mines, so why not?
Is this common for the children? The
No,
mines,
in
that
fact,
is.
you, snapping his fingers and 2 security robots pop up out of the garden. Find those parents and have them interrogated. Thank you. And he turns to you all and says, I do apologize. Normally we don't allow that kind up here. We're very prim, we're very proper, we're very astute, very regal. We keep a very fine decorum here in the Royal City.
Perhaps we should travel to one of the lower cities.
Oh, I wouldn't advise that. It is very unsafe.
Very well. How can we get there?
Perhaps maybe there's a problem with the translator. I could not guarantee your safety if you were to leave the Royal City.
We are not royalty.
And Princess Aeko just slowly comes into frame.
Your Highness, we do have our methods of self-protection, and if we are going to mediate appropriately, we will need to meet both sides.
On their own turf, as it were.
All right. Important. Oh, wait, go ahead, Callahan.
I said, though, if you are worried about safety, I'm sure we could leave the Commodore here. So, of course, we don't want our leader being put in jeopardy, as she knows Starfleet regulations don't let her.
Knows them and follows them. Totally different.
That's what I'm supposed to say. You're supposed to be telling me the opposite.
No. Taraz helped write some of them. So.
All right, let's handle it this way. Taraz and Shishista let you decide who's doing what. Shishista, yours would be a presence security. Taraz, yours would be a presence command. I will tell you this is a difficulty of 5, and you have 4 momentum to work with right now. Also, yes, Kittlefish, these, the Kozo are in fact warp capable. Yes.
Okay, so presence, so Commodore, what do you have on those on your end?
Total of 15.
All right, I have a total of 14, so allow me to assist.
Okay.
And I think Taraz, at least I don't have a note that you used your determination, so determination is available to you, I think.
Yeah, I don't believe I have.
Question is, what value would you tap for this if you did want to use it?
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
Can I use a
Really?
focus for an assist?
Yeah, you can use a focus whenever it would apply to a roll.
Yeah, negotiation.
Really stretch out my value of friends in all the places.
This is the most literal that could possibly be.
Or
yeah.
I have been there, seen that, got the t-shirt.
Actually, I think that sometimes logic doesn't have an answer might apply here, but maybe that's just me having foreknowledge.
Yeah.
You have we'll just say for sake of argument, you've got a value that applies.
Okay. All right, so I will use that and get an extra die as well.
Yep, and when you roll, it should ask if you you have a. So we'll only take the first roll because it assists is only the first roll, but that's still 2 successes from Shishista.
Maybe I should have rolled.
Okay. Ooh. Well, there's the 5 you needed, but there's a complication.
Oh, how complicated could it be?
Yeah, you know. So the king is going to acquiesce to your request, but he's going to turn to the princess and say, I think it's best if you come with me, princess. I believe we need to have a discussion about your future with Starfleet. And the princess kind of looks at the 4 of you and gives that look of make it quick kind of a thing. But she will let herself be led away by the king, giving you an opportunity to go explore outside of the royal city. And the moment the king is out of earshot, Zim kind of pokes at Callahan a little bit and then pokes at Shashista a little bit and goes, "Man, you guys are like little toy things. It's really cool. Like I bet if I changed, like I could literally like pick you up and you know what I'm saying? Stupid things. I'm sorry. I get kind of hyper sometimes."
Sim.
But
Yeah, hi.
Sim, you are correct. You could. You all are really cool when you get big.
You wanna see me
However,
do it
all of
now?
us can change too. So
And-
I would advise not doing that.
I'm going to go to Shashi's to be like, wait, Zim,
Yes.
can you tell me about where you live? And I'm going to shoot Shashi's to look of, now's the time for you need to shut it because he can give us stuff.
This is what you're doing.
Yes. This is, and I go, this is what, and I'm just going to do this. I'm just go. To her.
She's gonna kill you later. She's gonna kill you later. I
She
just have to say it.
daggers. But then before Zim goes on, she will say, if he turns and eats both your hands, I will rejoice.
And he'll use your tail as floss. Let's continue.
I'm very confused. Why would I be eating hands or tails? Anyway, I'm
His hands
actually
are very delicious.
okay. Now I'm even more confused. But I'm actually down there, and he like leads you over to what's essentially like a porthole or like a glass kind of flooring where you can look down at the rest of the city, and he points down at, we'll say, a cylinder type object that is definitely like only like 4 or 5 stories tall. So you guys are like the equivalent of the tallest building in the world. You are, I forget the count, but you're hundreds and hundreds of story up. And then you look down at this tiny little 5-story building. And he points to that and says, I'm in Hab Block 23.
Oh, how many hab blocks are there where you are?
Well, on this lander, on this mover, there's approximately about 1,000 hab blocks that are around.
Oh, that's a lot.
Well, yeah, and it's really interesting because we are like one of the biggest settlements. I mean, we have like over 200 million people on this crawler alone, but you know, the smaller ones can have like 50 people, and I think that's really weird because, you know, we have 200 million, and that just means we're cooler, right?
That is really cool. Is your 200 million, is that normal? Like, how many people are on this big one?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that on the biggest, we're on the biggest one right now. We have 200 million. And then you see that crawler behind us, and he like points over the horizon at the next crawler right behind this one. That one, that one's not a royal city, but that one has like 160 million.
Oh, wow.
And then he goes through all of them.
The one that he points at, is that one of the lower ones as well?
Yes, it is significantly less high than the royal one.
Got it.
And I'm going to ask, like, so what were you doing here today?
Well, Mommy and Daddy wanted to come and show me the royal city's best gardens, and I think Mommy was saying something about having a date, but that's really weird. Why would she have a date? She's with my dad. That doesn't make sense.
Did they tell you to do something?
Oh, yeah, there was this one thing, and he pulls out a disruptor. Doesn't point at anybody. He pulls out a disruptor, a Klingon disruptor, I should qualify. It says, yeah, I was supposed to throw this at somebody, but I don't remember who.
So I'm going to lean down real quiet to him and be like, hey, Sim, this thing is really cool, but some people might not like it. Because we're friends, can I hold on to it for you so you don't get in trouble?
Presence command.
I was going to
difficulty
say,
of 4.
as soon as he pulls it out, she would go to like grapple it.
Okay, so we have opposing actions. We'll do it this way.
I would like to say I'm trying to be a little bit closer because she has been so hostile to him that I've been trying to get him away from it a little bit.
Shishista does not do children.
Yes, so I don't know why you're so close.
I love it. I love it. All right.
If she sees a weapon, she will be on it.
Like trying to keep a bobcat away from their food, huh?
Let's do it this
You
way.
don't
We'll
wanna
do
get
a
between that.
contested roll. So no difficulty required. You just have to get more successes than the other person. Callahan, for you would be rolling a presence command. Shashista, you would be rolling a fitness security.
No focuses at all, just the normal task for us
If
both?
you've got something that applies as a focus, this still could happen, yes.
What about hand-to-hand combat?
Would apply as a focus, yes.
Fantastic.
I have diplomacy, so I'll call that too.
That'll work, yep. And just to keep things fair, let's have no momentum on the table. Let's just do straight rolls for this. Okay, so it looks like, Shishista, you're just beat out. So before you can get the, snatch it out of the grip, Zim just kind of looks at Cal and goes, okay, here, you can have it, and hands you the Klingon Disruptor.
Thank you. Hey, this is our secret, right? And he's going to look over. Look at Commander Shishista. Say thank you. She was trying to protect you so much. She's really good at that.
Thank you. Nice.
Commander Shishista.
Commander, thank you.
You're welcome. Listen, and she'll kind of, because she is still very tall, she'll kind of not real like lower down how you would normally with a kid, but very awkwardly, like kind of
Bending a little bit, yeah.
Listen, if you ever get something like that again and you flash it around in public, there's a good chance that you're going to be taken away by those robots again.
Oh, well, those robots are only up here in the royal part of the city. I mean, the ones down there, and he points down into Sablock, I mean, people walk around down there with those toys all the time.
Yes, but up here, they are very, she sees to shoot a look to Callahan, cranky about those toys.
It's like, what other toys do they have, Sim?
Well,
can you describe them?
They're kind of like, and he goes in and he describes a Klingon grenade, a Klingon power cell, and a bunch of other Klingon memorabilia.
And they all, and it's like they all are in that same style. They're all like made by the same toy maker.
Yeah, I think so. And it's not just here in this city; it's in the other crawlers too.
Oh, that's pretty cool. You have some good toys here, don't you?
Oh yeah, I don't get to ever use them. That was the first time they ever gave one to me.
Oh wow. But be careful. These toys have back in our world we call them a choking hazard. If you're not careful, you could hurt yourself.
While Zim is processing what the hell that means, I'm going to turn to Vokaya for a moment. So, Vokaya, you've seen the security drones appear up from the ground as if summoned. You've seen, obviously, a Klingon disruptor come out. You've seen heard the kid talk about Klingon technology. What I'm wondering at this moment is what is going through Vokaya's head? What is she thinking? What is she willing to do to find answers at this point?
Yeah, so definitely while everybody's kind of been talking to this kid and distracted, when those bots came up out of the ground, you said, did they come out of out of a chute or out of like a?
It was almost like a if you were to imagine a very large golf hole, like a golf course hole, where like a small panel of grass sort of slid open and then they just sort of popped out.
Yeah, definitely. And they look like the same bots, like on the surface, they look like the same bots.
That you're familiar with.
Or royalty bots, totally. But the kid mentioned more of these toys, but he didn't mention that bots were down there in his area, right?
Correct.
When those bots shot out of the ground, she would have started trying to scan where they came from.
Okay, go ahead and give me a reason engineering difficulty of 1. And you have 2 momentum by my count.
Let's see here. Where did I...
Shiraz was very curious about the bots popping up as well.
Okay. We'll have you kind of doing that Commodore thing where you're looking over Vokaya's shoulder.
Push that button. Nope.
Quick question. The
Quick answer.
Klingon weapons, are they like current? They're modern as per when we are, or do they look older?
Good question. I would say that, again, we're in 2195, which means that the disruptors are actually, they're a little bit outdated. They are back in the NX era, so they are outdated.
Okay.
I will pass the disruptor to Shishista and be like, hey, let me know if there's anything you want to do with that or
She would take and hide it in one of her many pockets she wears.
Yep.
And then mention to Callahan, this is a relic as it stands. Modern Klingons wouldn't be caught using these.
Probably why they're here.
Sorry, I just had to reboot my Foundry. What did you say that role was?
You're good. Reason and engineering.
Reason, engineering, difficulty.
Just a
2.
1.
Just a 1. Perfect. Reason, engineering.
And you would have a focus here. You definitely have a
Right.
focus.
Okay.
here.
I was hoping so with those, definitely. We have 2 momentum, right?
Mm-hmm. Could always
I don't
spend
know.
it to
I've
try
been
and make more.
I've been failing rolls. I'm definitely going to just try to cover some bases. I'm going to spend 1 momentum and roll
Okay.
3 with the focus on there. Maybe get some momentum back.
Well, you do get the momentum right back, so kind of a net gain. But hey, that's 2 successes. That's all you need.
Good enough.
So I kind of use the golf hole analogy where, again, they just, spotted throughout the gardens. Right next to where Zim is talking with Shishis and Callahan, there's a pocket of like 3 of them just right within range of grabbing them. In fact, as your tricorder scans, you see that there are hundreds of things under the ground ready to pop up at a moment's notice.
Almost ready to dispense from these shoots from wherever they're
Wherever they're
located,
needed.
hey?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, definitely. So yeah, I don't. Sorry, just for context, are we
Yes.
quite far away from each other?
I
Or
would
we
say
all-
that
we,
you're
we were all
within-
walking in a group.
Yeah, you're sort of in a group. I mean, obviously we've got Shishista and Callahan like off to the left, maybe about
That's
10 feet
right.
away from you, and then we've got you and Taraz a little bit lagging behind.
Yeah. So as to not alert, because I know combat, like we don't have comm badges as far as communications. We have like communicators, right?
Correct.
Like handheld. Can those be silent? Like I remember comm badges can be silent and not overheard by people, but can communicators be?
I would figure they have a vibrate feature, so sure.
Okay. Just curious. First she would communicate to Taraz, and like almost like nudge as we're walking and be like, Commodore, like kind of like hold up the scanning device and show all of the bots basically loaded, ready to go.
I feel like this would be the perfect opportunity to create an advantage, but I don't know what with that role.
Open table. I mean, you have the momentum to make that
Maybe-
advantage.
Maybe like able to map out the shoot system or something.
Where
you
they're
want
to possibly where like a central hub, like dispensing
Yeah.
hub is like, if we can shut that down, they won't be communications won't be able to be sent out to be able to release them.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, like I said, if you want to use your 2 momentum to do that, you certainly may.
What do you guys think?
Might be useful.
I was going to say, I feel this will indefinitely come back to haunt us somehow or another. So
And certainly
having
not
an
because
advantage
chat
on
just
it.
redeemed an evil thing. Certainly not at all.
Oh, for sure it will now. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So like I said, she like, it's like Commodore, should I try to locate exactly where these would be released from?
If it could be traced down to a central source, perhaps could be disrupted like the ones on the station.
And with that, we try to trigger that advantage.
Okay. So your tricorder is going to find a central hub located about midway down the spire that hosts the Royal Gardens. So you have a location, you have a map of some sort to get to this location. However, the complication from chat is going to be that as you scan, 3 security robots are going to pop up and begin advancing towards Vokaya, saying, something along the lines of, stop your scanning, whatever you're doing, stop. Relinquish your device.
He's like just looks up at the Commodore and is just like backing away from them, like continuing to scam, but backing away from them. Just before, like in this moment, before we continue on, while she ran this scan, knowing that this Klingon technology is quite a bit older, like would that have popped up anywhere on these scans while we were scanning for bots?
Yes, and again, your tricorder is in a ship. It's not going to scan the entire city.
No,
but
distance-wise.
What I will tell you is that you're not the only ones in the garden who've got Klingon technology. Now, you can't get a firm reading on whether they're disruptors, grenades, or anything else, but you definitely see that there's like 4 or 5 other instances of Klingon technology outside of your group.
Okay. Within a danger zone of us, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to spend my own threat here, a rare occurrence, to create a little bit of an advantage here. It's a little bit weird. The GM making an advantage. As you back away from the robots, another couple, this time 2 women, they begin running towards your group from the distance. And Shishista, you would have obviously noticed the robots springing up and going towards Vokaya. You would also see the 2 women running at you, and they seem to be going for weapons within their clothing.
So, I think...
But I noticed this as well.
You would at least notice half of it. Whether Shishista points out the women is up to her.
All right. So I think Shishista would move toward the encroaching robots and then also simultaneously pull out the Klingon weapon and then point it at the 2 women who were starting to run over and call out like, I'll have to ask you not to approach.
Yeah. So we are going to enter into a little bit of a combat exchange. So the players get to act first, and it's open to which player goes first. So I'm guessing it's Shishista, but again, open table.
I'd say Shishista makes the most sense.
Yeah.
So Shishista, you have not only a phaser type 2, but you also have a Klingon disruptor. Now, without getting into the nitty-gritty details, what I'll tell you is that the Klingon disruptor does not have a stun setting.
Yeah, we'll probably leave that one in the old pocket. And
no disintegrations.
Yeah. we'll go ahead and pull out Shishista's own weapon.
Okay. Now, the other thing, because we haven't done a whole lot of quote-unquote ground combat before, but one of the benefits of using a phaser is that it has the charge quality. Now, the charge quality can do a number of things. It can do an area attack, which might be effective to stun many bots at once. It could do a piercing attack to maybe get through the bot's armor, but you only ever get to pick one effect that you can charge in this instance. So to quickly go over the options, you've got area, you've got piercing. I'm pretty sure you can do Vicious 1, which is basically an effect, counts as an additional success. There's a few other options, but those are the 3 main ones that people go for.
You know what I think is actually going to happen here?
Mm-hmm.
Shishista would pull out her weapon toward the people, the 2 women, and the Klingon non-stun weapon at the robots.
Okay.
As she has 2 after all. I mean, it would be a shame not to.
What just occurred to me is that you have prehensile tail, which technically means you could have one thing in your tail, one thing in your left hand, and something else in your right hand.
2 weapons at the robot. How many robots are there now? What,
there
5?
are 3.
Did you say 5? 3. 2 weapons on the robots and 1 on the ladies, even though they are very large.
Yes. But yeah, You begin brandishing many weapons. What would you like to do with said weapons?
Well, first toward the ladies. You two, stop right there.
They're still running, but your shout has been noted.
Fantastic. Great. I don't think she has the sense that they're gonna do anything to us necessarily. And even as it stands, they're still a little bit further away. And then, you know what? She knows the robots aren't going to stop. She's going to shoot the robots.
Shooting the robots. All right. So this is going to be a control security difficulty of 2. And I think you've got to focus. I think you do anyway. Let me double check.
I have hand-to-hand combat. I have handheld energy weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I have negotiation, which I feel could be.
Handheld energy weapons will do fine.
Okay, so you says difficulty of 2?
Difficulty of 2, control security. Yep.
Okay.
So
Here we go.
I'm hoping momentum generating here, but we'll find out together. All right, only 1. So
One.
I will allow you to succeed at a cost, if you wish.
Oh man, how? With this success at a cost, let me ask you this: would that be a success for both the hand weapon and the tail weapon, as I am pointing 2 weapons at them?
Yes.
Man, that's 2 good shots. Yeah, I guess I'll take it.
Okay. Also, you did just get a momentum from Peter. Don't say Peter didn't give you guys anything. There you go.
Hey!
All right, so
Prince does come through.
first thing, Shashista, with your phaser, you're going to be rolling, I think it's, because you have a security of 4 or 5. Let me double check.
5.
Okay, so your security, yeah, so your first roll is going to be an 8. Actually, they're both going to be an 8. So roll 8 challenge dice 2 times, and the second one will be for the disruptor.
Okay. Here we.
I think
Nope,
actually,
that
if you
didn't do
click
it.
the little
Wait,
roll
God. I don't know
icon
what I'm
next to
doing.
the weapon, it might roll it for you.
I don't know where that is. Someone help.
Under
Wait, no, I see it.
belongings.
Yes. Okay, here we go. Would I just be able to roll the same one for?
Yeah, you can roll.
the-
I'll handle the vicious effect manually.
Fantastic. Roll number 1.
Well, roll number 1's definitely doing damage. That's for sure. That's 8 successes. Holy crap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what? All those weekends spent in the hollow shooting range, not for nothing. Let me tell you. All right, that was with her tail, by the way. Okay, here we go.
And oh boy, that is okay. So here's what's gonna happen.
She is not having it. She is not having this today.
Here's what's gonna happen. Bot 1, 2, and 3 go down. Easy. Down. Gone. They are not vaporized, but they are shorted out, sparking on the ground. The complication is going to be, unfortunately, that Vokaya is going to be hit by the stun. Vokaya, do you have any resistance? Do you have any way to reduce damage?
No, not unless I can, like, protect roll. I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked
Anybody
is
want to
because
assist and throw themselves in line of fire?
I got it. You know what? I know exactly what.
I also have, like, metal plates, by the way, like
Mhm.
metal implants. So hopefully none of those are affected by being tasered.
I'll offer you a devil's deal. I have a way to bail you out. I don't want to tell you what it is, but I can either bail you out or you can take a stun to the face. Which would you prefer?
Oh my goodness. These
Sorry,
both sound
but,
rather exciting.
Mhm.
Ugh.
The devil's deal is the bailout?
Is the bailout? Yep.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So, Shashista, you do
Too
the
good of a
whole.
shot.
Yeah, you do the 2 amazing shots. And then, Callahan, you notice that Zim is no longer next to you. In fact, he is.
Oh my god.
Zim has dived in front of Vokaya and taken the shot of Vokaya. And now Zim is on the
Dude.
ground, twitching a little bit, goes, "Ha! I did a good thing, right? Okay, this kind of hurts. Ow. Ow."
It's a stun. And this is what she would say to Callahan. It's a stun. It's a stun. He's fine. He will be fine.
You owe him an apology.
Everything's all tingly.
That was on you.
And then she would go and try and help him up and just kind of like pick him up, set him on his feet.
Oh yeah, within
And kind
seconds
of
he's fine. You know, within
Hold him
seconds.
there until he's all right.
Yeah, he's like, okay, that was really weird. Hey, it's I don't know who they are. And the two ladies at this point have run up to you, and they start putting away their Klingon disruptors, and they go, "What are you doing? You can't cause a scene here. You're Starfleet, right?
Scene.
You're Starfleet,
What are you
right?
doing?
Keep your voice down. Are you Starfleet?
Yes,
we're
Yes, who
don't run at us with weapons. What was wrong with
We
you?
were gonna help you with the robots.
We don't need help with the robots. As you saw,
Well,
we just took care of the
clearly.
robots.
Hey, God. Are they Kozo?
Yes, they're Kozo.
Okay.
As I'm doing this, I'm going to take Zim and kind of like put him behind me because I do not trust anything going on right now. I'm like, you did good, but stay safe
And
right now.
he's doing that kid thing where he's trying to push past you. He goes, "Wait a second, is that you, Aunt?" Yeah.
Do you
Hi,
know
Zim.
these?
Yeah,
You
that
know
one's my aunt.
I have some questions
Perhaps
for
we should
you.
talk elsewhere.
Yes.
It's
Let's
probably a wise decision.
use that Kozo mover over there, and the ant points at what looks like a glass elevator of some sort that will take you down into the city proper.
Okay, let's go.
And yeah,
Where the king didn't want us to go, right? Like
correct.
the rest of the
Yeah.
city, as it were.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Also, we have already taken way longer than the few minutes the princess wanted us to.
Oh yeah, Princess is just. I'll roll for her off screen for dramatic effect, but
As soon as that door closes on that mover, I'm going to get right up in those Kozo and be like, whose bright idea was to give it a contraband weapon to a child? That is endangerment, and why would you do something like that?
well, the kid had the best chance of getting close enough to the king to use it.
You still don't do that to a child. I don't care what you stand for, that's wrong. You do not put children at risk.
You know that he would have been completely vaporized, even if he did succeed.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you knew what the conditions were like here on Kozo Prime, you wouldn't be grandstanding.
Well, starting to get an idea.
I am not grandstanding against your cause and what you're trying to do. I'm against using children while you have people standing back. That is a line that you shouldn't cross, because that makes you just as bad. While they might be oppressive, if you sacrifice children, you are no better than who you claim to be fighting.
And I think that's where we're going to make it a 3-parter. Because I think we have some very interesting things we need to explore, and we just don't have the time for it tonight. So we're going to make this a 3-parter.
Nice.
But
Nice.
yeah, I do want to say a big thank you again to Petrus Aquinas for coming in and doing the prints for a little bit there. And thank you, Peter. But yeah, we will resume next week. And before I forget, who wants to do the opening log? Actually, you know what? I'm going to give it to Vokaya. Let's hear from Vokaya on this one, because I'm interested in what she's thinking. We're going to give it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
For sure.
But yeah, this is where I'm going to end the recording for YouTube. But Twitch, stick around, because we're going to rate somebody. But YouTube, bye-bye.